What's up, brothers? It's Glitched. This is going to be a Dark Cloud any % tutorial for beginners. This is a pretty easy speedrun. Anybody could pick this run up and get a PB or even world record. This game can be speedrun on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 4, or emulator. Emulator has a separate category from console, but PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 4, the leaderboards are combined, so it's all the same. The only difference between PS2 and PS4 are load times. Same with emulator. Emulator loads much faster than all of them, which is why it has a separate category. But I'm going to be changing the options real quick, so I'm going to change message display speed to speedy so that I can mash through text faster. I'm going to change map density to 3 because on my screen with my capture setup plugged in, my CRT screen gets a lot darker, so I need that map density up so I can actually see the map. You can have it on 2 or 1, it doesn't really matter, it's just up to you. And those are really the only options you need to change for the run. So from this point onwards, you just start up the run. So this text right here, you can't really mash through it extremely fast. You only have to mash when the text is almost fully faded in. So just start mashing when the text has pretty much faded in about 90% of the way. No matter how fast you mash, it's not going to make it go by any faster, so don't waste your X button's lifespan on mashing this. I can tell you that it's a waste. So it'll prompt you to name your character. You just mash start and X here. If you name Tone something other than Tone, it's not going to affect the run. You can name him Aon, doesn't matter. So here we just mash start and X once more to skip the cutscene. That's the only cutscene we can skip in the game. And you'll be in Narne Village. So from here, what you want to do is you want to press select to enter edit mode of your diorama and hold up on the analog stick until you're about right in front of the staircase right here. As long as you're like directly in front of the staircase and you don't go beyond it or too far behind it, then it'll be fine. So you just run up the stairs into the mayor's house, and the mayor will sit for a moment before starting to talk to you about, oh, we're the last people alive, I'm surprised that you're here, whatever. So you really just want to mash through all of this text, and nothing matters in terms of text, so just mash through it. So the mayor is going to give you the cave key, which allows you to enter the dungeon. So just continue to mash till you get the cave key. Mash through this as well, because you will hang on this screen if you don't mash. So keep mashing until he says good luck, and once he says good luck, enter your start menu with triangle, scroll up to go outside, and exit the building. It's the fastest way to leave buildings. So from here you go back into edit mode, and you want to hold down on the D-pad and on the analog stick to travel down to the dungeon. If you walked there normally, it would take way too long, but when we do it like this, we get there very fast. So down on the D-pad and analog stick at the same time will take you to the dungeon entrance very quickly. So I kind of do a thing where I curve my analog stick to the right a little bit before holding down. You can see it. You can see how I'm kind of making like a quarter circle angle with the movement here. So I do down on D-pad and kind of curve my analog to the right a little bit so that it puts me directly in front of the dungeon. If you just hold down, it's fine too, but it can waste like a second or two. So you just enter the dungeon by pressing square and then X in front of the door, and we're going to get on to the technical aspects of the run. Technical skills you need to know for this run are diagonal running and attack canceling. Both are fairly simple to perform and pretty easy to master as well. We're going to start with diagonal running first because it's the most prevalent and important skill to master. You're going to be using it throughout the entirety of the dungeon segment of the run and a little bit at the beginning and end portions too, as it is the primary method of movement in the run. So when you run diagonally in this game, your character's movement speed is increased. This is due to a vector math error with the camera. The closer your character is to a 45-degree angle, the faster their movement speed will be. Diagonal run is performed by holding northwest or northeast on the left analog stick and the cardinal opposite direction on the right analog stick. If you're moving right, your left analog stick should be at the northeast position, and your right analog stick should be being held directly west. If you're moving to the left, your left analog stick should be at the northwest position, with the right analog stick being held directly east. This is to prevent your character from moving around in a circle, so it kind of gives you control of your character while you're still holding the 45-degree angle for movement. You can turn corners by tapping or holding R1 or L1 to guide your camera while you're still holding those angles with your control sticks, as you will notice I've been doing in my examples. So now I'm going to compare non-diagonal running with diagonal running side by side to give you an idea of just how much faster it is to run diagonally. Diagonal running saves about 2 to 3 seconds while traveling over the same distance, and eventually adds up to save a lot of time over the course of the run. Now that we've covered diagonal running, we're going to move on to attack canceling. Attack canceling is a much more simple technique, so there isn't going to be as much for me to explain with this one. Tone has a 5-hit combo that ends with a final slash, and that final slash has a lot of end lag, so we use attack cancels to effectively cancel those last frames of the attack that caused the end lag. To perform an attack cancel, you want to quickly press R2 twice to enter and exit your first-person camera. This will eliminate the end lag of the final slash of Tone's combo and allow you to regain control of him much faster. I'm going to pull up another side-by-side comparison. I'll show you the full 5-hit combo without an attack cancel and the 5-hit combo with an attack cancel included. In this comparison, I'm going to be holding forward on the control stick so that the moment my end lag is over, I'll be able to move Tone again. This should give you an idea of just how long it takes for Tone's final slash to finish without attack canceling and how much more quickly you regain control of him with it. So now that we've gotten the technical aspects out of the way, we can actually begin the dungeon portion of the run. So when we get to the first floor, the Fairy King's going to be talking a bunch of garbage about how to play the game. We don't care about that. Mash through all of his text as usual. Anytime he appears, which is floor 1, floor 3, 4, and 5, always smash through his text, none of it matters. So, an important thing to know about floor 1 is that 7 out of 8 of the Atla here are static, which means that they will never change, they will always be the same thing. So we skip opening Atla on this floor. There's no reason to open Atla here for the chance that one of them will have something we need. It's just a waste of time. So what you really want to do here is just find the gate key as fast as possible and exit the floor so that you can actually start the run. The enemy that drops the gate key is random every time, so you're just going to have to keep killing enemies until you find the one that has it. Ideally, you want to get the key within 5 enemy kills because it saves a lot of weapon HP and a lot of time that would be wasted killing monsters. Since floor 1's over with, I'm going to be covering a lot of more nuanced things, so bear with me here. There's a lot to go over. Now for the things that you need to be able to complete the run. You're going to be looking for 5 Georama pieces to create the shop that allows you access to the glitch menu. Georama items are found within Atla, the spheres scattered across the map. These 5 pieces are Gaffer's Buggy, Sign, Supplies, Lamp, and Odd Gaffer. Georama items inside of the Atla are randomized every floor from the moment you enter the dungeon or the moment that you exit a floor to go on to the next floor. So because of this, you're going to have to open as many Atla as it takes to find what you need, similar to how you have to kill as many monsters as it takes to get the gate key. We'll need a couple more items to be able to perform the glitch as well, and those items are power-up powder, something to sell for Gilda, and a sword, which you get from big chests throughout the dungeon. The power-up powder, an item that you sell, you can get together on floor 4. After finishing the duel with the Master Jacket, you will always get a power-up powder in the right chest, and you will always get a gem. As long as you get a perfect, you have to perfect the duel, otherwise you'll get an undead buster and no gem, and the run will probably die. Whenever you find a weapon in a big chest, always equip it immediately. The weapons you find in big chests are much stronger than the dagger and ultimately save time on killing monsters by defeating them much faster than the dagger can. Previously, I said a weapon is required to complete a run. That is not true anymore. It is just optimal to have a weapon. There is a backup strategy for if you don't find a weapon in the dungeon, and I'll go over that later in the menuing portion. Now that you know the things you need to complete a run, it's time to learn the things you have to avoid. Money bags. Always avoid picking up money bags. In order to complete a run, you need a money value of exactly 85 gilda, and money bags can drop amounts of gilda that can make the last digit of your money value something other than 5 or 0. This makes the glitch impossible to perform and ends your run. It's common to get 4 or 6 gilda from a money bag, so we always avoid picking these up. Statues. From floor 3 and onward, statues can hold the gate key. Always kill everything you see that isn't a statue first, before killing a statue to find the gate key. The reason for this is that statues absolutely obliterate your weapon HP. Killing one statue with a dagger takes about 30 weapon HP, which is almost your weapon's entire health bar. You need to conserve your weapon HP because you only get 1 repair powder. Unless you decide to leave the dungeon for more, but that wastes a lot of time. If you found a weapon previously, statues aren't terrible to deal with, but they still chunk your weapon HP. The Shamshir, the Sax, the Sandbreaker, and the Bone Rapier are all good weapons to use against statues because they kill them in very little hits. Bats. Bats are purely demonic creatures in this game, more so than any of the other enemies you fight. Bats do not have the gate key or any item, so they're purely there to terrorize you and make your life hard for you. Avoid fighting bats and coming into close contact with them because they can poison you just from colliding with them. And you only get 1 antidote for the rest of the run as well, unless you decide to waste the time to leave the dungeon and restock. There's a couple little things I feel like I should mention to help out the dungeon portion of the run. The first thing that I'll mention is these little circles that appear randomly on the map. I like to call them RNG circles because typically they produce a random effect anywhere between your money has increased or decreased. However, when you're equipped with the dagger, the default weapon, you will always get the stamina boost effect from these circles. So running over these circles when you see them is optimal because it gives you stamina, which doubles your damage. Doubling your damage conserves your weapon HP and also saves time on killing monsters. If you happen to have the stamina effect active and you get poisoned, stamina actually cancels out poison. So the poison will not take effect as long as you're under the effect of stamina. Stamina lasts for about 30 seconds, and you'll notice by the time your stamina has run out, your poison has been completely cured. So if you are poisoned and you are out of antidotes, it's a good thing to use stamina in some way, whether that be a stamina drink or an RNG circle to get rid of it. Big chest traps. So when you find a big chest, most of the time you're going to have to guess a trap to open it, since it'll be locked. If you have to guess the trap to open the chest, always select Curse. The reason for this is if you guess incorrectly and the chest was actually a curse trap, you'll get cursed and you won't be able to equip the weapon you just got, which is very bad because you want to equip that weapon to be able to kill monsters quicker. If the correct trap was poison or explosion, it's very easy to deal with. For poison, use your antidote to cure yourself. For explosion, hold analog down when you see the text confirming it's an explosion to avoid it. Run back to the chest, guess the trap correctly, and get your weapon. Sometimes when you open a big chest, you will find a clown. Clowns can give you swords as well as random items such as anti-amulets and healing items. If you find a clown, always choose the big box, since swords are only held in the big box. Clowns can give you any of the swords you can get in normal chests, with the possibility of giving you a much stronger sword, like the small sword, sax, or sandbreaker. Bone keys. Sometimes when the map is generated, it will generate a locked door that needs a bone key to open to gain access to portions of the map. If there is a bone door, there will be a bone key in one of the chests scattered throughout the dungeon. If you notice there are an unusual amount of chests on a floor, or you found the map and it shows an orange bar blocking a portion of the map, open them until you find the bone key. On floor 2, there can potentially be 8 Atla in total. 3 of those Atla, no matter how many there is, will always be static. They'll always be the same. These 3 Atla will always be Annex Room, Camacho, and Barbell. If you've realized that you've opened all of the Atla except for any of those 3 or all of those 3, you can skip over them and proceed to the next floor because they will not be a Gaffer piece that you need. It helps to keep track of the Atla you've opened and how many are potentially left for you to collect before running into statics. If you find yourself low on HP or hydration, you need to find a fountain as quickly as possible. Fountains are indicated by the blue circle on the map, as you can see in the top right of the screen. Fountains fully restore your hydration and your health. You have to step in it fully, because if you don't step in it all the way and you kind of halfway step in, sometimes you don't heal all the way. But it's faster to just drop into a fountain if it's on the way to your next destination, rather than to stop and open your menu and heal that way. So if you need health, always go to a fountain. You always want to have over 32 HP during the run, because statue dogs right here, I'm pretty sure they're the hardest hitting enemy in the run, and they hit you for 32. So if you get hit by these once, you die. So always make sure you have over 32 HP just to be safe. If you happen to break your dagger while in the dungeon and you don't have another weapon to switch to, or a repair powder to fix it, there is something you can do to continue the run. You have to leave the dungeon and visit the mayor so that he can restock your items. So scroll up to leave dungeon in the menu and hit yes to exit. This strategy wastes a lot of time and is not viable for a competitive time on the leaderboard, but if you just want to get a run completed, this will work. So you just head over to the mayor's house through the edit mode, walk inside, and talk to him. When you talk to him, he will say something about Dran being our only hope. That is not the text you want. You want to talk to him one more time so that he says, "This looks to be no easy task." As soon as he says that, that means your items have been restocked. So once your items have been restocked, you want to repair your weapon through your weapon menu. It's the fastest way to repair your weapon. And then talk to him one more time. That means that you've gotten your weapon fully repaired with an extra repair powder on the side. Now with the hundreds of things you've just learned in mind, continue on with the run from floor 2. Open any Atla you see, minus the static Atla in floor 2 if you can help it, until you have all of the parts to Gaffer's shop, the power-up powder and gem from floor 4, and ideally a sword, but it's not necessary. If you're just looking to complete a run and don't care about a competitive time, you'll always have all Gaffer pieces by the end of floor 7 if you've been collecting every Atla you see. Sometimes one Gaffer piece can be on floor 1, in which case you can just go back, collect it, and leave the dungeon again. The moment you find the last Atla you need to complete Gaffer's shop, leave the dungeon immediately. And finally, we can move on to the last segment of the tutorial and the speedrun, warping to the credits via the glitch menu. Now that you're out of the dungeon with everything you need, power-up powder, your 2 weapons. Weapon isn't entirely necessary, but for a practice save, I recommend getting one. And the item that you're going to sell for your gold, this is the perfect time to save the game for practice. So I'm going to save onto my second memory card because I need my first memory card to only have 1 save on it, and it can potentially corrupt if this glitch goes wrong. So save the game so that you have a practice file. And then I already have Gaffer built because I forgot to build him. My bad. But basically what you're going to want to do is go into your diorama, throw down Gaffer and the lamp as quickly as you can. Drop the buggy as close as you can to the exit so that you aren't wasting time dragging it all the way over here or anything like that. Come down, talk to him. There will be an option to ask him what he needs for his shop, and he'll tell you he needs a sign and supplies. So then you just go back into the diorama menu, add those two things, complete the menu, and there'll be an event to watch. So you just come down here, talk to him again, and it'll start the event up. You just mash through the whole thing. So after you've mashed through the whole event, you'll be right in front of him once again. So from here is where we can actually do the glitch menu. You press select to go into your edit mode, triangle, up and press X on manuals, diorama, walking in a diorama. Doing this activates the glitch menu. It allows you to pull a glitched attachment from the menu that normally you wouldn't have access to. So you close it out, come down here, and talk to Gaffer. It's going to be two separate menus I'm going to be teaching you guys. The first one is the fastest one, and it is the menu that you're able to do if you found an extra weapon in the dungeon. So we're going to move the power-up powder into the second slot, move your weapon into your third slot, and your dagger into your second. You have to do these things or else the glitch won't work. Sell your gem that you got from the duel to get your money, and then from here you want to buy and sell items to where you have exactly 10 items in your inventory and 85 gold. So I usually buy 3 revival powders, 1 auto repair, and 2 regular waters. Sell one of the regular waters and you can just discard the rest of the stuff to get to the 10 items. So now I have exactly 10 items, power up in second slot, dagger in second, weapon in third, and no attachments. So now we're ready to actually activate the glitch menu for real. So we put the power up powder in the shop, scroll down to exactly this point right here, press left to go into the store, and we're going to buffer these inputs here because otherwise if we do not buffer them, you have to do 3 frame perfect inputs of right on D-pad, X, and R1 at the exact same time, or else the game will crash if you're running on console. If you're running on emulator, you don't have to do this because it won't crash, but if you're on PS2 or PS4, you do have to do them frame perfectly or else the game will crash. So we unplug our controller on PS2 and hold right on D-pad with our index finger, X with our thumb, and R1 with our ring finger. So, or middle finger, whichever. Ring finger's a little bit more comfortable though. Anyways, we hold these buttons with one hand. We reach over with our other hand to plug in the controller. Whenever we unplug it, we want to unplug it just enough to where it's not actually completely out of the system, but to where it's kind of hanging on so that we can just kind of push it in. So once we push it in, it'll do all of those frame perfect inputs for us and grab the steel hammer, the glitched item that activates the glitch shop. So we drop it by pressing X right here, and then we can go out of bounds in the store. So we hold left as far as we can until it won't let us anymore. Press up once, right until we're in our inventory, and then right 3 more times. From here, we press up 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then do 2 cycles to the right. 1, 2. So we're just holding right until we circle around twice. So then once we're here, we press left, and it'll try to get us into the shop again. So if you hold up to try to get into the shop, it's going to give you a hard time. So you want to hold up on the analog stick and then smash left on the D-pad while you're doing it, and it'll force you in. So now you want to get to the very top row here and press right until you're in the first slot of your inventory. Grab this holy, drop it here. From here you press right 1, 2, 3, 4 times to grab the glitched attachment. Press left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to drop it. So when you try to drop it, it'll say you'll need it in case something happens. Keep it for yourself. This is because you opened your weapon menu to equip and use your weapon in the dungeon. That's the only time this happens, and it's okay, we can work around it. It'll throw it in your inventory, so it's just sitting in attachments right now. You'll see it later. So from here, we press right 1, 2, and then we press down once, right, 1, 2, 3. So from here, this spot specifically, we press R1 to get into weapons, and then press X. That clears our money and also our item menu. As you can see, our items are 0 out of 0. So we effectively do not have an inventory right now. So press left as far as you can until it won't let you anymore. Go up to the bread and press X to pick it up. Up, hold right until you're in the first slot of your inventory, then press up 8 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now we press left and it'll bring us to the check menu again. Same deal, you just hold up on the analog stick and then mash left on the D-pad until it lets you in. So again, you want to be at the very top row. Press right until your bread is hovering over this gold bullion. Drop it, and then press left twice. Down to grab the power-up powder. You have to do these inputs very specifically, or else the glitch menu is just annoying to navigate, because it won't let you just navigate it like a normal menu. You have to press inputs pretty specifically to get where you want to go. So just follow me pretty much. So after you grab the power-up powder, just press right until you're in the first slot of your inventory, and press right one more time. It should be hovering over the auto repair powder. So when you drop it here, what it does is it places it in your active item menu. The place where normally when you're in dungeon you can press square to use items, it'll place it there. It needs to be there so that it can be duplicated later to level up our weapon and allow us to warp to Dark Heaven. So the same with the bread. The bread is placed in that specific spot to unlock the map and unlock Dark Heaven for later. So now that we've placed the power-up powder there, we want to go down by pressing left twice from where we were at, and then down once. That'll bring us back into the shop. We grab the holy. We want to place the holy in the first slot and move this glitched attachment over to the second slot. So now we go back into the shop and press R1. When we press R1, we press left as far as we can go once again, up, right, until we're in our inventory, right 3 more times, press R1 to switch to the weapon menu, and then scroll down for about 10 seconds until you find the plant buster and stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I stop because the plant buster is coming up pretty soon, so I start scrolling pretty slowly until I find it. Here it is. So from here we press down 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Grab the 129. We press left once and scroll down until we find the Stonebreaker. Stonebreaker comes 3 after the Plant Buster, so you can either stop at the Stonebreaker or the Plant Buster. But you want to get to the Stonebreaker. So now that we're at the Stonebreaker, we press down 11 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So now we press L1, X to drop it, L1 again, X right, X left, X, and then we press R1, X to pick it back up. That sets a specific value on your dagger that will allow the hexadecimal code to be changed to the end credits later. So now we press left 3 times to force it back into the shop. Hold up and mash left on D-pad, and then just press right until you're in the first slot of your inventory and drop it. So now everything is done in the shop, so now the rest of the parts are going to be done from the regular menu. So you want to equip your weapon, because right now the game thinks you do not have a weapon equipped. Notice how usually one of your weapons would say equip right next to it to let you know that it's equipped, but it's not. So you have to equip your dagger here. Now it has the equip symbol. Go up to your items, and you will be in your inventory. Your 129 and power-up powder will be in your active items. They're not supposed to be there, but because they are there, we can actually warp to anywhere we want on the map. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to warp to Dark Heaven Castle, because we need access to a storage menu to actually warp to the credits. So we press left to get to the power-up powder, pick it up, press right 2 times, and then drop it. This must be done. If this isn't done, the game will not allow you to warp, or it will just straight up crash. So now that we've done that, press left until we get to the 129, pick it up, press right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and drop it. Now we have 12,645 power-up powders in our active items. So we're going to put those in our inventory now. So we press L1, pick up this glitch detachment, hover it over the power-up powders, and press square. That'll flood our inventory with them. So they're all in our inventory now. So we drop it back into the second slot. It must be back in the second slot. And we take this power-up powder that we had, and we're going to use it on our dagger. So we upgrade once, grab another one, upgrade twice. We leave the item menu and come right back, and there's going to be 3 more powders waiting for us. So we just use those 3 on the dagger as well, because we need our dagger to be +5 to make a sense sphere later. So now our dagger is +5 since we've used 5 powders on it, and we can go to other area and warp to Dark Heaven Castle. So we're going to go there right now. So now that we're at Dark Heaven, we really just want to diagonal run up these stairs and open the gates. We warp to a specific Dark Heaven that does not have the Seda cutscene, so we don't have to watch it. We can just pretty much skip it and just run straight up to the Fairy King. So we're going to diagonally run up there. And then once we talk to him, we need to go to, can I check in items here? So now we're at the check-in counter, the storage menu. So we're going to do some pretty similar things. We're going to hold left until we can't anymore, up, right until we're in our inventory, and then press left 1 time. So from here, you want to scroll down until you find the Holy. Usually I count about 4 seconds, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I stop. So then after you've counted up to about 4 seconds or so, start slowly scrolling down until you see it. Alright, so here's the Holy that we're looking for. We want to pick it up, press down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, left, X, and then circle to drop it. I'm pretty sure this sets another value for your dagger to specific hexadecimal code that will let us warp to the credits once again. I'll have a little bit more details in the notes by Glitch King in my description. I'm not super knowledgeable about the hexadecimal rewriting, but I just know it works. So after we do that, we're going to leave the check-in counter, go to our weapons, and put that glitch attachment that we got onto our weapons. So now we have a dagger that has 85 fire and 0 of every other stat. So what that does is that writes the hexadecimal code for the ending credit sequence. So we're now going to status break that. But before I do, sometimes whenever you place the glitch attachment in this slot, sometimes this slot can have a ×2. If it does have a ×2, do not place it there, place it in the blue slot. Because if you do place it there and synth it, it will not have the correct values, because it'll double your fire. So you want to have 85 fire, you don't want this ×2, so just status break it real quick. Alrighty, now you have a dagger synth sphere with 85 fire and 0 of every other stat. So now we go to our item menu, press right 1, 2, 3 times, and it'll bring you above your first slot of your inventory. Press up to bring down a blank menu, or a blank row, excuse me. Press R1 twice, or just L1. But you want to get to your attachment menu, grab it, press left and then right, and drop it into this blank row. So now you can leave and go back to the check-in counter, talk to the Fairy King, and press L1 twice. That'll get you to your attachment menu of the check-in counter and your inventory. So now in the very first slot here, you just press X and it picks up that synth sphere you put in the negative slot. So now you want to hold left as far as you can, up, right until you're in your inventory, and then right again. 1 time. That'll put you in this specific slot, and you need to scroll down until you see a +5 weapon. You'll be scrolling past it pretty quickly, but you need to be paying attention to the little description of the item on the bottom right there. So you want to scroll down for about 11-12 seconds or so before you find that +5 item. It'll scroll by pretty quickly, but you want to do that. So just pay attention. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, so I passed it. I noticed the little +5 real quick, so I passed it. So now you want to find a power-up powder. You want to slowly scroll down until you see a power-up powder. So from here you go down 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drop it by pressing X, and then leave the check encounter again. So this is the very, very last part of the run. You open up your item menu one more time, press up on the D-pad, R1 to get to your weapons, pick up your weapon in your 3rd slot, press left until you're in the 1st slot of your active items, and then press right once to get it into this space, and drop it by pressing X once again. Leave your inventory and go back to the check-in counter. Press R1 twice to get to your weapon menu, and again, the very first slot will have an invisible weapon. It would be invisible at first, but once you press X, you'll pick it up. So you want to hold left as far as you can, up right until you're in your inventory, and then press left 2 times. So now this is the annoying part of the run. So you want to scroll down, once again paying attention to the bottom right descriptions of the items as you're scrolling past them. You want to scroll down until you see a sapphire. You will see a sun before you see a sapphire, so when you see a sun, you'll know you're close. So scroll down until you see a sapphire. Alright, so I saw the sapphire and I stopped scrolling as soon as I noticed I saw it. So now you want to scroll slowly until you find the foundation. This is the very final part of the run. Once you find this foundation, you have to press down 77 times and then drop your weapon. Yes, 77. So I'm going to count to myself so it's not super annoying. So now you drop it, leave the check-in counter, and save the game. You want to save on the memory card that does not have your practice saves on it, because if you save over your practice saves, or not even just save over them, if you save on the same memory card and you did this incorrectly, there's a possibility all of your Dark Cloud saves could be corrupted. So I use a completely separate memory card for this that has only 1 save on it, so that it saves quicker and won't corrupt anything. So I'm going to save the game. As soon as it says saving completed, restart your console. So if you actually manage to get this far in a run, this is very nerve-wracking, because a lot of the time, unless you're very used to doing this, you aren't sure if you really counted all of that stuff correctly, because it's a lot. So you're really just kind of like, oh shit, am I gonna actually finish this run? Oh my god. So really you just want to wait for the game to load. It's going to take a while if you're on PS2. PS4 loading is pretty decent. Emulator loading is extremely fast. But PS2 it takes forever. So you just keep mashing start and X, because that's what you're going to need to do once you get to the menu. So I'm mashing start and X here. Get to the menu, and then I load my save. And now we have officially beaten the game. Congratulations, gamer. You have beaten Dark Cloud. So yeah, we warped directly to the end credits, and that is the entirety of the run. So now I'm going to show you how to get here if you didn't find a weapon. So if you were unfortunate enough to not find a weapon in the dungeon, which happens very often, there is still a way to complete the run. Most of the things to do in this menu are pretty similar, if not exactly the same as the last menu. There's just one extra step you have to do. So you just do the same old Giorama, walking in Giorama, exit, talk to Gaffer, power up in 2nd slot, we're just gonna pretend we don't have that. Haha. So okay, dagger and second slot, and then sell your gem. So this time, instead of getting 85 gold, we're gonna get 260 gold. So I'm just gonna buy. Quick maths. We're just gonna buy 3 revival powders and 2 repair powders. So now we have 260 gold, 10 items in our inventory, power up on second slot, dagger on second slot, no attachments. Alright, so we're gonna leave and then come right back. So now it's the same old stuff. We put the power up powder in the second slot. Scroll down to this specific point right here. You want your scroll bar to be at this exact point and your cursor to be at this exact point. Go over into the shop, buffer your 3 frame perfect inputs once again. Right on D-pad, X, R1, plug your controller back in. Drop it in first slot, left all the way, up, right until you're in your inventory. Right 3 times, up 4 times, 2 rotations here, and then force yourself back into the shop once again. So this is where it gets different. So we're gonna grab this escape powder and drop it on the first slot of the inventory, and it's gonna give us a gladius and change our money to 175 instead of 65,000 or whatever. So now we just press R1 to go to our weapons, drop it in the second slot, and leave the store. So now we're gonna have to activate the glitch menu once again, because once you leave the store after doing the glitch menu, it disappears. So we activate it again by going Georama, walking in Georama, talk to Gaffer once again. So now, since we've already organized everything, we've already put the power up powder here, we already have our weapons in the proper spaces, no attachments, we can just sell an item, and we're going to sell the repair powders so that we have 185, and then we're just going to buy a revival powder. So now we have 85 gold, power up in second slot, weapons in the proper spaces. So we don't have to exit the menu this time. We're just going to put the power up powder in, scroll down, and we're going to have to buffer one more time. It's very stressful to have to do this more than once, which is a kind of a big reason why this sucks. But yeah, buffer your 3 inputs once again, unplug your controller, plug it in. I'll give you another steel hammer. So since we've already placed one here, we have to press right one time and then place it again. So now we have 2 of them. It doesn't really matter, but everything else after this is exactly the same. Left all the way, up, right all the way, right 3 more times, and then we're gonna do up 4 times, 2 cycles, spaced out a little bit there, left, force ourselves in the shop, grab the holy, grab the glitched attachment. This time it won't force it into our inventory, because assuming that you didn't find a weapon in the dungeon, you never open the weapon menu. Opening the weapon menu is what makes it mess up there. So now we're just gonna clear out our weapon menu again. Go up to our bread, pick it up, right, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, left, force it in the store, right until we're over the gold, drop it, left twice, down to grab the powder, right until we're on top of the auto repair, drop it again, left twice, down, holy in the first slot of attachments, sun sword in the second slot, get back into the store, press R1, left all the way, up, right until you're in your inventory, right 3 more times, press R1, and then scroll to find your 129. Again, about 10 seconds of scrolling before you slow down and start actually looking. So now that we found the plant buster, press 1, 2, 3 down, pick it up, left, scroll until you find another plant buster or your Stonebreaker. Once you find that plant buster, if you're going for that, you always want to stop at Stonebreaker. That's your end point. So once you get to Stonebreaker, stop and then count down 11 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Press L1, drop it, L1 again, X, right, X, left, X, R1, pick it back up, press left to force it into the store, and then drop it in the first slot of your inventory. Everything is pretty much exactly the same from here. So we equip our weapon, we press left to get the power-up powder, pick it up, right twice, drop it, pick up the 129, right 6 times, L1, pick up the glitch attachment, press square, power-up powders in our inventory, level it up once with the one you just picked up, make sure this is in the second slot still, pick up another one, level it up, leave, come back, and then use these last 3 to level it up. And then your dagger is +5, and Dark Heaven is unlocked. So now you can pretty much do the Dark Heaven segment is exactly as I explained before. There's no difference at all. So you just warp to Dark Heaven, and that is all you need to know. So yeah, brothers, that's all you need to know to speedrun Dark Cloud any %. I speedrun any % and any % glitchless at twitch.tv/glitched. I'll have my link in the description as well as the pinned comment. I want to give a shout out to the Glitch King or Pokemon Fan 4000 on YouTube for coming up with this route, helping me find the no sword backup strategy, and just being so knowledgeable about the game and discovering tons of glitches for it still to this day. Close to War for helping me learn and get better at the run. Word of Wind for doing the same, as well as discovering the strategy that allows using weapons in dungeons. And Mason Elliowood for making this dope thumbnail for me. They're all goated. I'll include their links in the description as well. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll be sure to get back to you. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, donate to my Patreon.